The biggest ones I noticed were Helena Krovar. She
Mm.
finally, she beats the best woman in the world. That's fucking insane. She beat Adele, and I agreed with that decision.
Did you?
Um,
Wow. Okay,
I did. I
let's
did.
agree to
Yeah.
disagree on that one, but we'll get back
You
to that.
disagree with that?
Yeah. Welcome to Forever White Belt. I'm your host, Adolfo Foronda. In this episode, I have Canadian black belt, owner of On Guard Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and host of the Everyday Jiu-Jitsu podcast, Matt Kwan. Matt's a great mind for jiu-jitsu, and in this episode, we recap CJI 2, the Craig Jones Invitational 2. So lots of fun stuff to talk about. I hope you enjoy the show. And with that, I give you Matt Kwan. Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
So a lot to discuss today. I want to talk primarily about CJI 2. Of course, it's sort of in the zeitgeist right now. We've had a little bit of time to digest sort of what happened versus like initials of just vibes about it. Overall, just in terms of like what was sort of marketed in terms of delivery, did that come to fruition versus what your expectations were?
Obviously, it was 2 nights. There was no shortages of controversies. For me, I was entertained the whole time. I know a lot of people are complaining about, oh, the matches were boring and all that. We can get into all that as to how that could be maybe remedied in the future. But I think it's pretty crazy that people are complaining that it wasn't entertaining. It certainly was. And I feel like there were certain things that kind of like didn't add to the show that they thought would, like Hanato Laranja, for example, I thought was like not really that. It was okay, right? Like seeing him with Danaher was kind of funny, but I didn't really think it like added too much to the show, right? But I was entertained, and if I to the people that think that those matches were boring, maybe in some ways, but like in that there wasn't a finish. But I mean, that's our sport. Like it's kind of like watching MMA and saying you're bored if there's no knockout. It's like maybe you don't really like fighting then if you don't find that entertaining. Because for me, I enjoyed pretty much the whole thing.
Let's talk a little bit about the logistics of the whole thing in terms of like the whole production, the fanfare, whatever, the pyrotechnics or whatever it may be, the walkout, the big screens, sort of the screw ups in terms of like, people that were announced and then the wrong picture shows up or what have you. Your thoughts on just sort of the production as a whole?
For me, it was fine. No, like in the sport of jiu-jitsu, I don't really think we're known for our production value, and nor really do I think it really matters that much. Like I was happy when there was Metamoris and it was just a little bit of drumming, and just like a cold, clean walkout, or like ADCC basically before the last event. What would that have been? 2024, when they added like a huge Titantron and everything. Like to me, that actually kind of ruins the event. I like it less than just having like a drummer there or whatever. I don't need like pyrotechnics and things like that. So for me, I was satisfied with the production value. Obviously, there was no slip ups, but I mean, hey, like Flow Grappling, for example, you watch an event on Flow Grappling and it's like they're going to pump it full of ads and it's super annoying. The streams are often choppy and they suck. Like maybe my standards are low for me. And for me, that doesn't make or break a show, but I thought it was like on par or good enough. It met the industry standards for sure.
You sound like the old school guy that just loves the high school gymnasium tournaments that you grew up in, man.
That's the thing is I remember when, it wasn't long ago when that's where like no-gi worlds or no-gi pans would be in a gymnasium. You see the classic basketball nets turned up, like in the bleachers that are not open. Like, yeah, I can remember doing trials in a high school gymnasium back in the day. Most of the tournaments that I've done have been in like collapsed gymnasiums or whatever, where they move the nets out of the way. So for me, that's like where I feel most home at a tournament. When I go to a tournament, it's like a big arena. It starts to play like mental games with you, and you have to remind yourself that, hey, it's still just like it's the same as what you do in the gym every day. The big lights in the big arena means nothing, right?
I love it. I love these attempts that Craig's going with in terms of the whole production. So I dig that stuff that at least they're trying something new. What was funny is it didn't have the initial feeling of like CGI 1 where there was like a newness to it, right? Like especially the pit. Like the pit was a big deal, I think, in the CGI 1. Everyone knows about it now. And actually there wasn't a whole lot of usage of the wall, didn't factor a lot, which was surprising. in the tournament? Everyone sort of figured out how to kind of stay in the middle and just sort of go.
There wasn't yeah, it didn't play as big of a factor, but I agree with you. It didn't have that like novelty, that freshness that CJI one had. That was like a historic night. I mean, this is two in its own way, but at the same time, for me, I thought it was a good show and I liked the format. I think they could make a couple small changes to fix the quote unquote boringness or maybe to increase the pace and the intensity of the matches. But it's very strategic too. You got to understand people are complaining about it not being exciting enough or being boring. It's like, hey, if you're a 66-kilogram guy and you're going against a 99-kilogram guy, it's like sometimes you got to just stall. Like it's not realistic that you're going to submit them. And even if you like, people are forgetting that, you try and have multiple matches with that small of a break in between, like what they give them 90 seconds. Like you're bitching to people that there's not enough finishes, and it takes a lot of exertion and tension in your body and stress on your body to get a submission most of the time, unless you catch someone completely off guard. And then you got to you get a short break and then you got to go again against who knows, maybe someone way bigger than you. And these are all world-class guys. Like even as they're announcing the athletes, I'm like, holy shit, this is like a who's who for any world-class tournament. And then you got to fight someone else. It's like you're going to be exhausted. Sometimes the right play under this rule set is to stall and to take the other guy out and just survive. Like we saw that, and obviously under this rule set, that's going to be a strategy. You'd be an idiot if you didn't utilize a strategy like that. So part of me is kind of disappointed in kind of the reaction that I saw to CJI too, like people shitting on it, talking about, oh, they didn't pay enough and they paid on the second day, but not the first day, shit like that. And I'm just like, guys, they brought you a fucking free show. They paid out the biggest purses and practically the biggest purses in history of jiu-jitsu. It's the biggest platform essentially now. And it's like, why are we complaining? This is a fucking free show. Like it's like, I don't get it. It's like what they say. And I've experienced this in business. If you give something away for free, then people they don't associate it as valuable. So they'll just look for ways to shit on it.
True. That being said, Matt, you want feedback, right? To adjust and iterate and improve, right? I hope there's a CGI 3 because I feels like they could take all that feedback and adjust. In fact, on day 2, that they made that adjustment, by throwing that 50,000 bounty on the fly. So to me, it felt like it was almost 3 different tournaments in one, right? There was obviously the sort of the quintet element, and then suddenly there was this whole, okay, it's boring, we're going to tweak this and throw 50 grand at it too. And then there was obviously the women's, the 1v1 stuff too, right? So yeah, of course, like if you're going to, bitch and complain for a free product, then come on. But then again, dude, feedback is important, right?
Agreed. I liked the mentality of like, if you're trying to do something great, like start a business or like a new jiu-jitsu promotion that's like groundbreaking, like it's good to always try to find a better way to do things, or having that mindset of like, okay, we're flexible enough that we will just like change things as long as it's within the rules. I fully support something like that. Like it makes total sense to do that. I understand these gripes that some of the ladies have about like, oh, why wasn't the bracket $1 million? You're able to just throw another $1 million at New Wave as the winners or whatever. But I understand those complaints because it's like, hey, you just forked over $1 million to this other team, basically to try to save face, because they're probably facing some legal ramifications, I would imagine, with the last second rule change. But on the other hand, I've seen a couple athletes post even more about it today. It's like these ladies agreed to do $100,000 bracket. That is still insane money for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, totally.
And an insane money for ladies Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no less. So it's like, maybe now that's set a standard where in the future there could be $1 million prize for ladies or whatever, but you're going to complain about it now. It's like, you just look like an ungrateful person, just like the fans complaining about how the show is boring and all that shit. It's like, you got that for free. You should be grateful. And maybe there could have been more finishes. I don't know. Like that's the rule set. That's going to foster that kind of a situation sometimes. Like I would have liked to have seen maybe, like I think the absolute aspect of quintet is cool. But if it was like the 77 guy goes with the 77 guy, the 90, so it's even, the 66 guy goes with the 66 guy. I think that could be a little, you'd see matches a little bit more, it's almost less of a sideshow because there's
Agreed.
no difference
Agreed.
in weight. Because we
Right.
did see some matches where it was the biggest guy versus the smallest guy. And it's like,
Totally. Yeah.
okay, it is a spectacle. It's kind of cool to see, but like realistically, that big guy's going to smash that little guy. And that's kind of what
Absolutely.
we saw, right? Uh,
Yeah.
for the most part. And I think they could also they could potentially say, okay, instead of the double elimination rule, where if it's a draw, they're both out, you could score that one match and say, okay, rest decision, winner moves on. You know what I mean? So in that way, you're going to have to force the athletes to actually try and win the match rather than just stall to a victory. And that may or may not be better suited for, let's say, a tournament where there is no absolute aspect to it. Like maybe the athletes are the same size, then it makes more sense. You'll see more even matches, and you might even see more submissions because they're going for things more. I think that the double elimination rule, it does incentivize athletes sometimes to just not get submitted and just hang on, so that you're like a smaller guy and you knock out like one of the bigger guys on the other team. Like it makes sense for you to just play that strategy and just shell up, and nobody wants to watch that.
Yeah. It's, well, it was really interesting to me. It's like right before the event, I had Max Hansen on the show, and who was on the Pedigo team, who actually competed at CGI too. And he himself even said, I'm like, how do you think CGI 2 is going to be? And I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially he said, there's going to be a lot of boring moments. And I was shocked that he said that. And I'm like, why is that? And he effectively said, it's the quintet rules. These team rules are always an issue in terms of action. And you're going to see, his prediction was, you're going to see once you get a victory, the other team's behind, obviously, if there's a sub. So you just essentially, you can make it kind of stall by circling. You have a ton of experience with this on the mat and just kind of make it look like there's action, but there's not, kind of thing. Now it kind of turned out differently, but I think that you're addressing some of those concerns in some aspects. Your thought on the quintet rules, you've given us some really great feedback in terms of how you think things could have possibly fixed to some extent. I don't know if the team rules even, I don't know, the team thing seems kind of cool in essence, but in execution, it obviously was kind of weird, right?
Yeah, and it always kind of is. Like quintet always is. I really enjoy the quintet format. I find it very entertaining. Like seeing like Diego Pato going against Luke Griffith. It's like that's kind of a cool fight to see. Like there's not many times you're going to see something like that, and you get to really see that clash of sizes, like how that plays a factor during a competition.
It was, yeah, Ethan versus Declan Mooney was insane. I mean,
Poor Ethan, man. He had a really
God.
rough tournament. He just got smashed. He's tough as nails, but like you see him go against a Declan Moody. Like, what is he supposed to try to submit him? Like,
Yeah.
how is that gonna? It's like, do you want to see the spectacle, or do you want to see like really even, really good matches at the highest level? You know what I mean? And with Craig being who he is, like you're probably going to lean more to the side of like spectacle. He's like a comedian basically. So, and they obviously tried to, and I'm going to use the word tried to, they tried to make things like funny at times during the night. And I thought it was like, there's some pretty cringe moments, like when he's doing lines in the bathroom before, and then he comes out. I was like, I get it. Like your whole thing is you're this like drug addict degenerate. Like, okay. But you're also like a white knight in Ukraine, and like you're an advocate for women and all these other things. So it's like, it's an interesting contrast with his personality. But then he's just like doing lines. I'm like, hey, like I have students that are watching this that are like 6. They're like 7. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
like there's nothing cool about doing lines off of a bathroom toilet or toilet paper holder. Like, I get it. It's funny for adult humor. Like I'm not a prude or anything, but just, I know I have kids that I'm talking to them about this event. Like, hey, you guys need to watch this. And then that happens. And they're probably thinking like, what the fuck was he even doing? Like, I don't get it. It's over their head. Right. So maybe I look at it differently now because my profession is to mentor children. Right. I think about things differently.
That's a great point, and something definitely I thought about and I didn't think to talk about. So I'm glad you brought that up. But Another sort of cringy moment, in my opinion, your thoughts on the Gable Stevenson pullout and the whole Chael Sonnen replacement thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any thoughts about like Gable pulling out. To be honest, I don't see how he wins that match. Under the rule set,
Yeah,
Craig can just sit down. So
yeah,
it's a dumb match. Like I don't know what to say. I was never excited about it. Oh, I'm excited. I'm like, I'm not. Craig's gonna leg lock him.
yeah.
Craig's the like top 2 or 3 leg lockers in the world. His jiu-jitsu is so good. So like what are you gonna do to him? Are you gonna submit him? Impossible. You know what I mean? It was just like him versus Gabby. I'm like, oh, I guess we're just like done seeing Craig do anything competitive anymore. And that's kind of like his personality, which to be honest, fine. Like if an athlete wants to stop competing, I'm okay with that. Like it's not my choice. I at one day, I've thought about that a lot lately. Like when do I stop competing? But I don't knock someone who doesn't want to compete anymore. They just want, or they want to compete just for fun, right? But it's sad because I love watching Craig compete at like a high level, and he's so good that he can win at a high level. But I guess he wants to take these like spectacle matches, right? And then you have Chael Sonnen step in, which I was like, same thing, except even more so. How could he even possibly win that match? There's literally no way. The only way Chael would be able to win a match against Craig is to use some kind of a tactical wrestling match in a different rule set, but certainly not in a sub only rule set. It makes no sense. The match was just basically a joke, and he gets buggied twice. I've been buggied in competition before, and it fucking sucks. It's so super embarrassing, and it's a very powerful move when applied well. And I'm not surprised that happened. It is such a spectacle, but I that was one part I was like, this is like one of the lower points in the show, and I knew that it would be because Craig, we all know he's good enough to beat the best guys. So it's sad that he's not fighting the best guys. I think that's similar criticism to like people who are giving Mikey Musumeci those kind of vibes. Like, hey, you're in the UFC now, so you're never gonna fight the best guys, right? He never did ADCC, so we never get to see him compete at that tournament. So it is what it is.
I'm curious, sidetrack there. How do you defend the buggy?
So late defenses, I would try to drive into the person rather than try to pull out. And I've actually never used this because I don't get into a lot of buggies, thank God. But I've been told that rolling to the bottom position actually makes it difficult to finish the buggy, but I'm not 100% sure. It's not a move that I do unless I'm rolling with like kids. Then it's like it's fun to do to them because you're just so much bigger. In early defenses, if you're going to be playing like body lock passing, you're going to be exposing yourself at times to buggy chokes, especially if you move to the side pin position. So one thing you can do is just not let there be a strong flush connection between your neck and their body. Like if you're body locking, instead of just like putting your ear on their chest and being like neck flush to their body, which is going to give them the buggy choke, try to like turn your head so that your chin is digging into their your chin is digging into their torso, and then that way this artery, this space, there's a gap here, and if it's not on, then it's pretty easy to defend it once they try and set it up. But if it's set and they lock up and they're set up, then it can be challenging to get out. It's such a strong connection, you're already getting choked. So like turning your head or just thinking about like instead of putting your neck on their body, like putting your eyebrows on their body as your body locking, like different things you can do with your head position to make the choke less available.
Now, one of the reasons that I like talking to you too is you have so much experience with reffing and rules and studying rules and this kind of thing. I want to get your thoughts on both of those things. First of all, let's talk about the tiebreaker rule that happened at the end there. I heard that was actually Dima's idea that somehow got incorporated, and it was, I guess, an homage to like the Pride Days or something like that. But your thoughts on that whole, like, if everything's tied up, then it goes to the last match kind of thing that happened?
I don't understand that rule. I believe for the actual quintet tournament in Japan, seem to recall that maybe that rule was in effect, that the winner of the last match wins the bracket. To me, it makes no sense. If it's a draw, I believe it should go to who has more wins, like whichever team has more wins. Or another way you could do it would be whatever team has the most submissions. Like I could see an argument for deciding based on that, but it doesn't. The truth is,
Or split the money, as shitty as that sounds.
man, that would be
You know,
tough. Or
100
even like,
grand
hey,
each.
let's do a sudden death. Let's do a sudden death where both teams can send out one more match. Like both teams can send out one fighter and they go at it. Like I would be okay with that. I think splitting the pot, I think it's better than splitting the pot. I'll be honest. I just want a definitive winner, which we kind of didn't get. Like we kind of didn't get a definitive winner for the way that it turned out, because officially, as the books say, B team won, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So like I was saying, it really doesn't matter what I think the rules should be. What matters is follow through whatever's on the fucking contract in writing. Like doesn't matter. You could cut it many different ways. You could decide a winner many different ways, and no way is going to be perfect, and everyone's going to always bitch, depending on the situation. And like, I don't blame Gordon for going off on social media and like bitching about it. I love his jiu-jitsu. I'm not like a fan of his like social media presence. He's like, he's very autistic and opinionated, and some things I don't even disagree with, but it's just like, it's cringe at times, but hey, that's his thing. He's the best of all time. So he can do whatever he wants. Like, I don't blame him for going after them and like saying, hey, there's some, this is kind of crooked. I agreed with some of that. Like the Bodoni tap. I didn't think it was a tap.
Well, I want to ask you about like your opinions on the reffing in general, and then we can talk about the taps as well.
So I was always taught that if you're subbing someone in competition and you let go before the referee stops you, you're an idiot. It's your fault. You weren't prepared. Like maybe in training, you let go super early because you're such a good teammate. You want to let it keep everyone safe, which is what you should do. But it can totally fuck you up in competition if you have that. You have to be able to take a move to its completion. I don't enjoy breaking people, and I've done it a couple times in tournaments, especially with like leg locks. Like leg locks are one of my favorite attacks in competitions. And I always think, I'm like, fuck, what if I apply a leg lock and I have to actually break it? Like that is such a gross feeling. Like I've done it before. And on one side, you're like, you're satisfied because you're like, okay, I know my technique is good. Like that's a good thing, but it doesn't feel good to break someone. Or if they do a poor defense and they're spinning right into a break and you're like, hey, well, this is a competition. So like, I'm obligated to do my best to defeat you. It's kind of like, it's kind of scary, right? I thought the Bodoni tap was not a tap personally. I watched it many times and like changed my mind a couple times. One tap, like there are times when I'm defending a leg lock and like you might just be like, you might just touch their leg, not even meaning to tap or anything, but you're just like, I've done that before. I know I have. And the fact that they called that a submission, they should have just kept going. It's like, you let go too early. You're a good guy. You should have tried to really, I think he was finished his follow through and he was having issues getting more. And he was like, oh shit, that's a tap. Okay, I won. We should have just been like, no, continue. I thought that was a mistake. I thought the Gio Martinez was a tap. That was 100%. Multiple taps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that one is pretty hard to defend if you're him. Like I've never tapped like 3 times and then been like, that wasn't a tap. Like maybe once, I get it. And he shouldn't have defended it. I thought that kind of tarnished his image that night.
Yeah, especially upon retiring and stuff. Yeah, which is a bummer.
Yeah, and I've subbed one guy in particular in competition with a leg lock. I actually did it twice because we fought each other twice in the bracket. But the first time I fought him, he was like, I subbed him with an outside heel hook, and he clearly tapped, and it's on tape too. I got it, and then after he's like, what? Yeah. I didn't tap. And then the ref raises my hand and he comes up to me. He's like, in his Brazilian accent, he's like, yo, just so you know, like I didn't tap. And I'm like, okay, like, well, we're going to do another one and you make sure you tap next time because it's coming on hard now.
Yeah.
I'm like, you make sure you tap. And then of course, instant heel hook in the finals or whatever. And so I know what it's like for people that are like it sucks when your opponent's like, I didn't tap, and they want to keep fighting. It's like, dude, that is bad faith, right?
Hey, man, if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit, Matt. It's your problem, baby.
I guess it's like people want to win at all costs, right? Even if I tapped and the guy let go, and let's say the ref didn't see it, I would never keep fighting. I'd be like, yeah, you got me. Like, I don't know. You both share that knowledge that like this guy got you, and you're still trying to keep fighting as playing dumb as if you didn't give up. Like, I don't know.
I think, I heard Big John McCarthy talk about justifying some of the calls in terms of like, he was saying in UFC, the tap is different than BJJ or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but
I don't know. I've seen in some rule sets, I thought it was ADCC. I could be wrong. It might be another rule set where it says a tap is two distinct taps, or they put a number behind it, right? Like that one famous, it's a Brazilian tap where you tap once, right? And it's like, but here's my opinion. If you're applying a submission and your partner taps you once, like, and you got to make that split decision because your training tells you to let it go when someone taps, right? But you got to make that decision like, hey, I got to continue until the referee tells me to stop. That's kind of what you need to do is try and finish it until the referee. That's what I would expect of my opponents to try and do to me, right? Or I'm gonna smack them, and I'm gonna also scream tap if it's really coming on because the referee might not stop you in time. Like make it obvious. I think one tap, you just keep applying the move, honestly, and like slowly, like that's when you get to a really high level when you can just like stop applying a submission and you can make that decision at the end. Like you're fighting so hard for this desired outcome of them tapping. And then like you have to, they tap and you're like, okay, just keep it. Yeah, they tap and then let it go. Like that's some skill right there.
so standout athletes, when I mention that, who comes to mind, like top standout athletes in this competition for you?
The biggest ones I noticed were Helena Krovar. She finally, she beats the best woman in the world. That's fucking insane. She beat Adele, and I agreed with that decision.
Did you? Wow. Okay, we
I
can
did. I
let's
did.
agree to
Yeah.
disagree on that one, but we'll get
No,
back
you
to that.
disagree with that?
Yeah. I think it was a margin. It was just a hair though. And I keep saying, hey man, if you leave it to the judges, you know what I mean? And I love Adele. Well,
Yeah,
I love Helena
me too.
too. But I can see it either way. I can see it going either way, but yeah, you can't leave it to the judges, bro. You know?
Why would you give it to Adele instead of Helena?
It just seemed to me like it was more threat. Granted, it was from bottom. She had her in danger, it felt like, maybe once in a really significant way. Helena, I could see her with the top, the pressure, but I don't know, man. That's sort of how I felt about it. It just seemed like Adele put her more in danger in maybe one moment. It was very even though.
I thought Helena's ability to stay on top and to fall back on ankle locks as a part of a strategy to get submission threats was very masterfully done given the rule set. I thought she attacked more. I didn't think Adele like off balanced her hardly at all. So for me, it's kind of like Sion Davies versus Adele, which I thought Adele won that fight. Personally, for me, I don't know how she lost it, but this one, I think Helena won, and then obviously winning the tournament with the ankle lock against Galvao's daughter, like a beautiful ankle lock that just put like an exclamation mark on her performance that in that weekend. I love watching Helena Krivar. She is so good. Holy shit. And she had some big size over Adele too. I've seen Helena in person. She's
I
like
mean,
huge.
that's
She's
why I
like
can
my
see Adele
size.
playing that bottom game, of course, right? I mean, you're going to do that too, right? You got some bigger size
Of
opponent
course.
on you.
Of course you will. And so she looked really good. I've been impressed with Declan Moody, even though he could who he fought Krellinston, right? Like you can't submit someone who's their whole game is just to try and not get submitted, which I totally understand. I'm not knocking Ethan. Like he had to do what he had to do, and he ended up getting paid because he did what he had to do. But Declan Moody lately has just been looking unreal. DeAndre Corbe looked great, obviously, like Victor Hugo and Nicky Rod. Like having those two on the same team is like almost unfair. They're both
Yeah.
so good. Kenta looks so good. I
Kenta,
was
just a
super impressed with
standout for
Kenta.
me. My God.
He invented a new move. Did you see that?
Yeah. The schlong
He's
hold or
grabbing his
whatever.
own
Yeah.
dick.
What was that,
I've,
dude?
I've never, I can't even imagine doing that. That's so funny. And also obviously Dorian Oliveras, ever
Oh,
since I
God.
saw him at,
Yeah.
I saw him at East Coast. First time I saw him was at East Coast Trials, you know, 3 years, whatever, 2 years ago. And he won and he beat
Incredible.
Krelliston
Yeah.
as well. I think he beat him in the finals. I was like, holy shit, who is this guy? Like, this guy is insane.
He's like the second
He,
coming of Andrew Wiltsey or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, we'll see. I love watching that guy compete. That guy's shockingly good. But yeah, Dorian just like his passing is just so relentless. Like a lot of the passing I try to use, I've stolen a lot of ideas from Dorian. I don't quite execute it quite as well as him because I can't move like he can. I can't wrestle like he can, but just like the way he like drops his head when he's passing and like the way that he manages the distance where he's so close that the guard player has to defend, but he's far enough away that he can't be entangled or wedged or controlled. It's like really beautiful movement from that kid. That kid is going to be like potential future Hall of Fame GOAT, like you name it. He's nuts.
Yeah, yeah. Giancarlo Bodoni too. Just a exceptional performance. That guy is just I can't believe it because, I've seen some inconsistent sort of in the past through some of his matches, but man, he back better than ever. My God, he looked fantastic in this event. Your thoughts on Giancarlo?
Dude, he's so good. He absolutely destroyed Gavin, even though Gavin's super good, but he was also really small for that tournament. Wasn't he 66, I believe?
Dude, how about Joseph Chen? My God, too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Joseph Chen is so good, man. That guy is truly like one of the most technical guys in the world. Like I just watching him roll and watching some of the stuff he does. Like some of my buddies show me some of his like premium content, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is like really original ideas. The way he's like passing the guard and kind of has this way that he camps on like a butterfly guard. That's really neat and interesting. It's like
How he handled Max was incredible, too.
yeah, and Max Hansen is like super good, right? But yeah, it just shows the levels. Joseph Chen's one of my favorite guys to watch. I hope I get to train with him one day.
Joseph went into this event with a torn hip flexor and a chest infection too, which a lot of people don't know about.
Joseph Chen did?
Yes, yeah,
Oh
which
shit,
is
I didn't know that.
absolutely insane, especially when you have to compete against Giancarlo Bodoni too. So another thing to talk about is some injuries. I heard B Team talking about admitting who went into this thing and how. Like I said, Joseph Chen had the torn hip flexor and chest infection. A lot of people don't know this, but Nicky Rod had a really gnarly staph infection in his knee, and he was actually hospitalized in Vegas right before. It was like a game time call. When they landed, his knee was like double the size, and he was like, I don't know what you do. And they're like, dude, you need to go to the hospital immediately. He had to get the antibiotics. He got shitty antibiotics. It didn't do anything at first. And then they did another one. So it was borderline. They were about to call it and pull him. And they actually had Roberto, who was in Morocco at the time, as a backup. And
Jimenez?
they actually paid for his plane ticket. So he agreed to do it. He was in Morocco. He was going to fly back, but at the last minute, Nicky felt okay, enough to do it. And so they reimbursed him for his plane ticket. But that's all this behind the scenes shit that a lot of people don't know about. And then obviously, another thing they realized too is during the event, Luke Griffith got his arm pretty much snapped by Felipe Pena. So he was compromised. So that went into the whole strategy of the thing too. But interesting information, right?
Yeah, for sure. I saw a Instagram reel where Nicky Rod was because he's working with Toehold now, which is pretty hilarious, right? And he was there like with a pair of sandals and he had like a big mark on his knee. It was like a sty or like a pimple or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, that because I had heard that some people in the comments were saying a staph infection or whatever. I mean, Nicky Rod is a guy where I've heard him talk about staph and like ringworm, and he's like, it's all mental. He's so funny. Yeah, he's tough as fuck too. Big respect. I mean, he looks awesome. He's super good. Too bad we'll never see him and Gordon go at it. I would love to see that match,
Yeah,
but I
no
don't think
way.
we ever will. I mean, Gordon beat him twice, right? So what else we need to do?
Yeah, it is what it is. Your thoughts on the teams, New Wave, B Team, Lachlan's team, Pedigo that we talked about, but some that I almost kind of forgot about was the 10th Planet team, the Team
Yeah.
Americas, which was Greg Sauter's team, Team Europe, which was Fares's team, and Autos too. So your thoughts on the teams and the outcomes?
So I remember actually looking at the teams and being like, holy shit, there's 8 teams. Like that's a lot. I would almost rather see less teams, like 4 teams, but have the matches like I don't know. It'd be cool if the matches had like 3 5-minute rounds or something like that rather than just one 8-minute round. But then 5 minutes, it might even be harder to get a submission in 5 minutes, right? And then 15-minute match, and then you got to do another one. Logistically, that might be pretty hard. But yeah, 8 teams. I was shocked. There was a lot of teams. I mean, I like the team format personally, so I find that interesting. One of my students, we were talking about it, and he was saying, fuck quintet, it's fucking stupid, and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I see why you say that. If you want to see like the best compete against the best at their weight classes and have the most fair competition, then yeah, you probably won't like the quintet. But I find quintet exciting. I always have. It's kind of neat the way you do that, and it's fun to compete in the quintet tournament too because it's you and your friends, right? And you're like all there together. So it is kind of a neat contrast to the normal jiu-jitsu competitions that we see.
I'm curious if that's because you're more of an insider, you know what I mean, versus the casual or even the hobbyist, that's watching this thing. Because the 1v1s, it's even, again, I'm going to go back to this Max Hansen thing. He said, you're not going to, and he was right, pretty much, you're not going to see another Andrew Tackett Rotolo match as CJI under this quintet type of rules said in terms of action.
Yeah, probably not. Unfortunately, that's where given the choice, I would way rather prefer the format of CJI 1 to CJI 2. I will take like a bracket over a quintet bracket any day. But I do think it is kind of neat to do the quintet thing.
So your thoughts on the teams in general that maybe, I don't know, let's say underperformed or that were just lost, right? Well, let's talk about 10th Planet first. You got Gio, Alan Sanchez, PJ Barch, Ryan Aiken, Kyle Bame, some pretty significant athletes there. Standouts, obviously,
Mhm.
PJ, and Ryan.
Yeah, I mean those guys are super good, and I like Kyle a lot too. I've trained with him, had
Yeah.
him on my show.
Yeah.
Really, really, the 10 Planet guys are like super good at. They're usually pretty good at getting subs, and they're pretty good at not getting subbed. But again, size is a factor, right? And it's funny because the style of grappling that the 10th Planet teams, like nowadays, the 10th Planet guys that are the best guys, they don't really have that like 10th Planet. They don't have that 10th Planet. Like they don't play the systems that they're known for, like lockdown and rubber guard. It's because there's more current ways to grapple, I think, now. So you're seeing guys like PJ Barch that are like really well rounded everywhere, really good foundational jujitsu and just really good wrestling, right? So I don't know, like I didn't really expect like Gio Martinez to do that much damage in this tournament, if I'm being totally honest, just because he's like older and
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on those guys at all, but you're going against the best guys, so it could be tough.
Didn't Gio compete way back against Eddie Cummings?
Yeah,
Like way back. So I mean, like that's how far back he goes, right? So and you're going against these young monsters now. And he retired. So I mean that speaks volumes.
yeah. I think it's a good thing that he's like, oh, I'm retiring or whatever. I just wish he didn't argue the tap. That looks stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bummer way to go. Yeah. Your thoughts on how about Team Americas with Gavin Corbet, DeAndre Corbet, Elijah Dorsey, Taylor Perman, Pat Downey?
I like Pat Downey, but as in a sub only tournament, he's just his style. Like you put him against anybody with a good guard, and he's not getting a submission. So I don't know how good of a choice that he is. I also feel like DeAndre looked really good against Mika. I thought like he showed that how good he is. He showed his levels. He's some of the best in the world. And Perriman, whether or not you agree with the heel hook or not, like I thought he looked really good. He's a great leg locker. So the Team Americas, I thought was a good team, but it's not a lot of submissions, unfortunately.
What about Team Autos, bro? Like Diego Pato, Ronaldo Jr.,
Yeah, that's a crazy team too.
Lucas Barbosa, Kainan Duarte, Felipe Pena.
Yeah, like that's another team too that would be a favorite to win it, right?
I love the Ronaldo Jr. versus, I think it was Giancarlo match. I believe it
John
was.
Carlos subbed him.
It was incredible. What do you think about Wagner Rocha
I
being
mean,
on the
that
team?
was a
What was that
weird.
about?
Yeah, that was kind of weird having him on that team.
That kind of tripped me out. I was like, wait a minute, what?
It's a weird addition. I mean, I go back
Put
and
me
forth
in.
with Wagner, right? Like he actually blocked me on Instagram because
Yeah.
when that whole cyborg thing happened
Yeah, I don't
down at
like to
Fight
talk about
Sports.
him because of all that shit. Yeah, but
You know what, jiu-jitsu, I'll say this, like if you want to be a rapist or a pedophile, just do jiu-jitsu. You'll get
totally,
away with
man.
it.
It seems like, yeah, it's
It's
all,
the
yeah, it's
craziest thing
fucking
ever.
ridiculous. The
And
shit
he's
we tolerate.
not those things, but knowingly, I guess, protected a guy or whatever kind of happened. And yeah,
Yeah. Go look it
I
up,
can't
people, if you're interested.
I can't see him on Instagram anymore, unfortunately. But I do have I have respect for anybody who's his age. I'm actually, what is he, 40? I'm not
God,
that
I don't
much
know.
younger than him, to be totally honest. And
Yeah.
like anybody who can still compete at the highest levels, I'm like, hey man, you're doing it. And it's also cool how quite often he'll be competing alongside his children, which is a super cool, rare thing.
Yeah.
As a father, that could be like a dream come true kind of thing. Not a lot
Depending
of
if
people
you're
get to
on the same
experience that.
supplementation though, bro. You know?
That's exactly it. And whatever, I don't care one way or another about like PEDs. Like we're doing jujitsu, so a lot of the
Totally.
time it's
Yeah.
legal. He did what he won worlds and then he nogi worlds and then he left at the podium or something, or he
Yeah.
left after the semis when he was going to the finals because USADA was there and him and Cyborg had to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. They had planes to catch or whatever. Like it's like just do the test, win the division, and then after when they pop, you just be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I still won. Like whatever. Like everyone's on it, so whatever. Just own it. Like don't need to like run away and avoid the test. That looks even dumber.
And then your thoughts on like Flow being involved too. I mean, it seemed the stream was fantastic, the free stream on YouTube, and then taking it away after 2 days, that whole partnership.
I have a lot of issues with Flow, especially being a paid subscriber on Flow. I don't really watch it for anything aside from like competitions. So all the like embedded stuff they do and like the Daisy Fresh stuff they do, like I don't watch that. I don't really watch a whole lot of stuff on Flow unless it's a competition. But like just the how they like I said earlier, the ads and like it'll be difficult sometimes to look up matches without things getting spoiled, if that makes sense. Like say like it's hard to go over matches if you're like delaying an event without spoiling it for yourself, just the way that they lay things out. So it's Flow's got a lot of problems, and yeah, but I understand too. Like if they need some kind of a paywall, people are just so fucking stupid. They think everything should be free nowadays. People are so entitled. Like these people complaining about the cash prizes, the submission prizes only being on the second day, or like the women not getting enough money. It's like, okay, this is why I would never run a tournament. You know what I mean? People have asked me,
Mm.
Matt, why don't you start a tournament in Vancouver? Blah blah blah. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You know how much work that would be and how much headache, and people are never happy or satisfied. The event that they gave us for free and gave out those kinds of prizes, like, and you still have complaints about it, get fucked. Like you probably never built anything if that's your attitude.
So speaking of the payouts, so we had the $1 million payout, we had the $100,000 stuff, the $50,000 stuff. By the way, I think Victor Hugo made maybe 300,000, something like that, because he had 2 subs. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he had which was good for him.
Thought it's kind of unfair how people who got submissions on the first day didn't get anything for those.
Good point. Really good point.
Like, let's hand out a couple more $100,000. Might as well. Whoever this investor is incredibly wealthy.
And that's the thing too. I'm like, was it the team New Wave guys that got the $1 million? Was that the same investor? That's what everyone's asking, right? There's the initial CGI money, because it's not like
I would
Craig
assume.
paid $1 million. See, so that's what's up in the air. Like, because I know Lachlan confirmed there was an investor who gave New Wave
I saw that.
that money, but what we don't know is, were they affiliated with the CGI organization or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
So was it some
It's
shake
all
or something like
anonymous.
that? Yeah.
But I understand like Gordon's gripes. I mean, he's a very competitive person, obviously, and just he's so autistic that like if he sees something like that, he has to keep attacking it because he believes it to be right, and he is right. I think someone had to pay out New Wave because there was likely going to be some legal troubles there.
But for people to say, hey, Craig ended up paying them New Wave $1 million, we don't know that yet. You know what I mean? From what I hear, it might be an external person. So
Yeah, I don't know who did it.
that may not be the case. It may be the CGI actually did only pay $1 million to this team, and then some other super wealthy person or conglomerate gave the money to
Well,
New Wave.
I
So
I
until we get that
imagine
confirmation, it's like, it's still kind of, weird.
I would imagine that if that was the case, they would still be liable legally and obligated to provide that money regardless of the third party donating the money or whatever. So it would probably cost a whole lot more money for whoever's running the event. I'm assuming the money came from whoever's running the event, so I'll just go with that. I would imagine that it would just be a lot less headache and cheaper to just fork out another million rather than go to court and try and defend something like that. Because from what I can see, I know Damian Anderson is defending everything online as if like, here's the receipts for the rules we agreed upon. There's that interview with Miha and whatever. But like, what did I see in writing though that said like that? The Gordon was like, this is from the contract. It says this is what happens in the draw. So if that's not true, show me like, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
they immediately capitulated and said, okay, we're going to give New Wave $1 million too. It's like, okay, well, then I assume that Gordon is correct then with his legal assessment of the contract. And they just are like, well, it'll be easier this way than going to court and losing even more money. And we did fuck up. It's clearly an admission of guilt if that's how things played out. Like, I don't know for sure if the money was transferred yet or anything logistically. Like, I don't know anything about that. I assume because the people from New Wave aren't complaining about not receiving the money that they said that they would get, that it has been transferred. But Gordon, I believe, is right when he says, no, we fucking won. That's where his obsessions come into play. He's like the only way this ever gets corrected is if New Wave are the winners. Like, you think he gives a fuck about $1 million? He's like, we're the best. We fucking won. That's what's important, is that let it be known that we beat Team New Wave. Like, and I get where he's coming from given the
Me too.
situation. So yeah, I think he's totally right. And the only like I think CJI has to do that. It's as shitty as it is, they should have just like, it's uncomfortable, but you gotta make a public statement saying, yeah, we were wrong, and B team doesn't receive the prize. Like, why should they receive the prize if they didn't win? It's weird to, instead of taking the prize and giving it to the correct team, it's weird to give them both $1 million. In my opinion, it was a weird look.
You know, I heard Damian Anderson, a B team's one of their head coaches, say, "Hey, we had a rules meeting. We had
Yeah,
additionally a Zoom rules
I
meeting
saw
as
that.
well, and we sat through that, and they did mention this tiebreaker thing,
Hmm.
rule. So you're right. I don't know if it was or was not in writing. I assume there was some sort of alluded to something that they had rules, and then had a virtual Zoom meeting thing. So I'm guessing that it may have been in writing. Perhaps it was updated later. I don't know what Gordon's referring to, something legit as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know if there was some sort of update or change to the rules, or he got a
Yeah.
preliminary rule set, or what.
I mean, I bet that Zoom meeting was literally just the coaches getting together and discussing rules beforehand that they would agree upon. That is not a legally binding document. I've been in meetings like that with promoters and other teams and stuff, and it's like, yeah, this is not the official. Just because you have someone talking about it, that doesn't make it legally binding. It's what's in writing and what was signed. And you know, like I said, Gordon is kind of our compass here. Like, if they didn't give New Wave the money, you don't think Gordon would be going off on social media and letting all of us know? Like, I think they got the money because it doesn't sound like anybody's complaining about it.
Interesting, man. So, any other thoughts, man, on CGI too? You thought, there were moments that were kind of weird. Let's go back to some of the cringe because it just sticks out. You know what I mean? Like when Gabby jumps out on the mats and kind of starts talking, sort of half drunk, and
To me, the Gabby Craig shit was funny the first time, and it's been stale for years, and they keep doing it.
yeah,
It's like that's where it's like everyone thinks that Craig is some comedic genius. He's really not. He is funny though, and his delivery is funny, and like, and like I watch him in podcasts and I enjoy listening to him. But like the Gabby thing, I'm like, where are we going with this?
your thoughts on the commentary and the commentators?
Huel Teague or whatever. I know he still owes us that Red Belt documentary, but aside from that, I like him as a commentator. I like those commentators. Brandon McCaffrey's a great guy. Yeah, I like that lineup. I think I thought the commentators were pretty darn good. Those guys are pretty much like the industry standard in our sport. I also really like Ricardo Amendolia, and I really like Sean Williams as a commentator. I even like Kyotera. Yeah, like technically
Yeah, Bernanke.
I'm
Yeah,
under that Kyotera umbrella through Rob or whatever, but
right.
I love listening to Kyo's. First of all, I think his voice is like funny, like his high Brazilian voice. But I enjoy his assessments and stuff. He's it's really I like how he commentated like the Worlds and whatever this year, and he's good to listen to as well.
So we did talk about a little bit of Hanato. I love Hanato's IG short stuff, it's hilarious, dude. But this kind of Andy Kaufman kind of stuff, like it's hard to watch, man, in long form, improv on the fly, unedited.
Yeah, like seeing him with Danaher was like I was laughing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I love anything with Danaher in it,
But then everyone was cringing on the DeBlas stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, look, like a lot of comics nowadays make a lot of pedophile jokes. Like I just saw Louis C.K. a couple weeks ago in Vancouver here, and it was funny. But I was like, oh man, he really tells a lot of jokes about fucking children. Like it's really weird. He's going on like a 10-minute bit about fucking children. I'm like, I want to hear some racism jokes. I want to hear some. I want to hear jokes that mock different minorities. That's what I want. A little bit too much pedophilia and not enough. And it's like a lot of the comedians, like the comedians that do those types of jokes well, are the ones that mock the pedophile, not the ones that put themselves in a position to be a pedophile. And let's laugh at
Mm,
that.
mm.
It's like, I'm no prude. I love comedy. And I could go to a stand-up show. Like I thought Louis C.K. was still really funny. But like the Hanato one, I was like, this is just like not a good joke. His whole bit is that he has a funny Brazilian accent. And the way he does the Brazilian accent is pretty funny. Like the way he pronounces things, I find myself laughing. And I'm like, it is funny. But yeah, I don't even remember what he said to DeBlas. Something about like you must have been like an attractive boy or something like that. It's like dude, the guy has been very open about like being sexually abused. I thank God I was never sexually abused. Like that will fuck up your life. And I didn't find it tasteful or funny, but I also found it par for the course for the event. Like that's Craig Jones's type of humor, in my opinion. So I thought it fit right in, to be totally honest, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
funny to me.
Let's dive a little deeper into we touched on it, the women's competition, which I felt was probably the most exciting part of the whole thing. Obviously, we have Adele Fornarino, Helen Cravar. Should they run back the Helena and Adele thing, or?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, those are, in my opinion, those two plus Fionn are the best in the world for women. They're the ones that I want to watch. And because they are that good, that's what I want to see is really high level stuff. And they are literally that good. So I would love to see them fight again. I think everyone wants to see that again.
But do you think because of this question hanging over, we differ on the conclusion of that outcome to some extent? Do you think that fosters more of a sort of validity to the running it again?
Oh, for sure. Well, for me, I thought Helena won. So I don't think I just think that they're the two best. So it makes sense to see them. It was close. It was really close. So maybe, yeah, maybe I don't feel like it's like unfinished business or whatever. I think Helena won, but at the same time, I can understand Adele wanting to get that back. Like I've lost matches to people multiple times, and I still want matches with them again because you wanna right that wrong as if you're a competitive person.
Matt, I'm curious about you. What have you been up to, man? I haven't seen a couple episodes yet of your podcast come out, and I'm just wondering. I know you've been competing, you've been busy with your business. Matt's an academy owner. He's got all kinds of shit going on. So, what's up with you, man?
Yeah, like it must have been like about a month ago now. I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a fucking break because it's not like running a podcast is fun, but it's a lot of work. And I give my podcast for free. And as we saw at CJI, anything that's free often is not associated with value, right? And my plan was to do some kind of a premium thing. I'm still planning on doing something like that, but just for now, I got trials coming up in November, and there's an EDCC Vancouver in October, and I have students. We're all getting ready for these competitions, and it's like I want to give my time more to them and to my own development because it's been busy. I've also not been posting on my online academy too much lately because it takes a lot of time, and I wanted to have some free time to just train. Get that extra session and get that extra study time or whatever, and just be a better coach and a better competitor. And I thought, if I'm going to go do trials and spend money and all this stuff, I want to go in prepared. And I also I was missing like just having time to be bored. And I think that that's a very important thing for us. If we can accommodate that in life, you should always, prioritize like good food, good sleep, which is something that I've been really working on for years now. But being bored is very, very important, I think, for happiness and growth. When you're bored, then you start looking for things to do again. And I just didn't have that. I was always so constantly busy and I was getting stressed. And really, for what? Like, it wasn't like the podcast was monetized. So if I feel like I want to take a break, I can do it. And, hopefully I'll get back into it after trials. But just for now, yeah, just getting extra training in and enjoying summer with my kids.
Right on, man.
I'd be shocked if anyone missed it, to be honest.
I missed it, man. That's why I'm asking. All right.
I
Well, was
appreciate
there
it.
anything we missed?
Not really. That was a good conversation. I think we got into pretty much everything. I appreciate you having me on the show, Adolfo. And you guys want to check out my show, the Everyday Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. Great to have you guys check in and check out some of those episodes. Hopefully I'll be back in the future. Until then, I hope you guys stay safe on the mats, get some training in. And yeah.
How do we get a hold of you and everything that you're up to?
I believe my Instagram is EJJP for the podcast. You can also follow me On Guard BJJ. You can check out my YouTube channels as well. I have 2 of them. I haven't been putting out content, like I said, because I don't know, man. I'm enjoying using my time to just train and study right now. So
Totally.
looking for that extra time so that I can enjoy my life a little bit more, I would say. But check me out on those platforms. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Right on. All right, everyone. I'm your host, Adolfo Foronda. Go get your salt electrolytes. Go get your Dojo Chimp geese. And thanks for watching, listening. We'll see you guys next time.